I know you know this, but your kids have this archival footage of Dad. I mean, that's always your voice will always be there.
I've never thought of it that way until you just said it that way. All those clips, they'll outlive me because I've been again given the great gift of being at some of these significant events. Just dumb luck. I happened to be there when Tiger won the 1997 Masters, and he closed it out with a 4-foot putt at the 18th to win by a dozen shots, and I said, there it is, a win for the ages. Well, that little narrative over that will be played back 100 years from now when somebody builds the opening montage and tees for the Masters. That's a moment that's evergreen, transcendent moment that will go on in time. I didn't really think about it at that time, or whatever it might be, a Super Bowl finish or a Gordon Hayward nearly making the shot, the half-court heave at the end of the game. Those clips are going to be played back for a long time. You just hope you do them right.
But do you think that you truly captured, like is there a moment you talk about Tiger? Is that the one that you go, got it? Like, I captured the moment in the way that it needed to be captured, no regrets.
You always have a little bit of doubt in the back of your head because it's live and you're not sure if you did it right. And you go back and listen to a show, and especially if it's like the next day, it never sounds like anything of it, any part of it was that great. Not that it ever is great, but
you got that one though. The Tiger one.
Well, I will tell you a brief story. I know you're probably up against the clock here, but I felt some pressure the night before because that moment was on the way, and Tiger led by 9 going into Sunday, and he was going to become the youngest champion. He was going to set the 72-hole scoring record. He was going to have the largest margin of victory. And then, of course, the social significance of Tiger coming to Augusta and winning. I mean, this was a gigantic moment. And I gave it a lot of thought. And some people said, oh, you pre-planned that line. You scripted that. I know you didn't just come up with that. But, there are certain situations where you know what's going to happen. If I didn't think it through the night before, I wasn't doing my job. For example, if I was a writer and I was covering the 1997 Masters, and on Saturday night with Tiger leading by 9, if you weren't thinking of how you were going to write your lead the next day, and instead you decided to go out and have dinner and 3 or 4 beers and a bottle of wine, you're not doing your job. Somebody should take your press pass away, the people that are paying your expenses. Your job is to go down there and document what's going to happen. And I knew I was sitting on the precipice of history, and I felt, figuratively, the presence over my shoulder of Jim McKay, Jack Whitaker, Pat Summerall. They were all still alive, and I knew that at that time, I knew they would be watching the next day, and I knew they would want to see how that moment was handled. So I knew it had to be succinct. I didn't know it was going to be a 3-foot putt, but you knew he was going to win, and I just thought that what could last in time was something as important as his victory. And ultimately, I thought to describe it as a win for the ages would be the appropriate line for that moment.
You captured it.
Well, thank you.
It was the right one.
I didn't know it till you just validated it. I'm serious. I mean, I've never really talked about it, but I hear it all the time. It plays back on all the promos and openings and things like that. And I'm pretty proud of it. It was a prideful day for all of us at CBS because there was no drama in terms of who was going to win, and the storytelling that came out of our entire crew, both verbally and through the lens of our cameras, the way that was shown, it was fresh every step of the way. There was nothing that was repeated. It was all great storytelling, documenting a historical moment that's one of the biggest of our time in any sport. I think it was Tiger's first major championship.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.